going. Good evening and welcome. Today is Wednesday, January the 19th, 2022, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. First item on the agenda, addenda? We'll take up at the end. Right now, we'll move right into the public hearings. First being BAR 2148. Maurice.
Okay, BAR 2148 is located at 210 North McDuffie Street. It's in the downtown historic district. We're talking about this brick building. It's been known forever as the Exchange Building, as you can see on the building. The applicant is seeking approval to paint the exterior of the building. Again, as you know, sometimes colors don't really show up very well on this, but again, it's a black color. To be specific, it's Sherwin-Williams tricorn black, and that's the exterior color. They're wanting to paint the exterior brick of the building. As you can see, it's currently unpainted now. Now, I did ask the applicant over the course of the last few weeks, in addition to the brick, which they said they were wanting to paint that tricorn black, there's some trim at the top. There's this entrance way. It's a little bit different there. What is your plans for that? I have not heard an answer from them at this point. So that may be a bit of information you need in your decision making. But nonetheless, the information that was provided to us is to paint the building the tricorn black, and that's again looking like just a basic dark black color. Now, when reviewing a request such as this, the board should focus on standards set forth in Chapter 10 of the Downtown Design Guidelines that relate to painting, and basically use colors to tie together an entire storefront. Also, when choosing a color, consider the context or major colors on the surrounding buildings. Again, a lot of times in the downtown area, you see brick and masonry colors brick being painted. Muted and compatible tones should characterize a building, and always avoid higher intensity colors. So those are the items to consider when you see a request for painting exterior brick in the downtown district. Be glad to answer any questions for you. The applicant is not in attendance tonight.
All right. Well, as we've always been very cautious when being brought before us painting currently unpainted brick, the building has some details, and without the applicant here to address those details and as to how it all would be together, I think it would be very difficult to move forward. Perhaps we should table this and give an opportunity for the applicant to be here to answer the questions that are most pertinent to our decision making.
Yeah, I agree. That front entrance is going to be critical with whether that color, how that's going to be incorporated with the color. So yeah, I think I would need to hear what they're planning to do for that front entrance.
Is there a motion to table? A motion from Jill, second from Mary Lou. All in favor? All right, the application will remain open. Next time, Maurice, when hopefully the applicant will be present to answer these questions.
Certainly, I'll pass that information along so they can be present at the next meeting.
All right. Now, moving on to BAR 2150.
Okay, this is a request for a new sign at 515 North Main Street. This is the building we're talking about. To be specific, we're talking about a sign third bay in from the right. You can see it a little bit closer on this photograph here. As you can see, this building has 6 storefronts in it, and then also there are framed spaces for signage that were constructed when the building was remodeled, and the applicant is planning to put an aluminum cabinet, backlit face, 30 square feet in size. One question that was asked early on by the staff, and I know that's something that you're probably interested in, will this sign cover the entire area of the frame? And according to the applicant, it will cover the entire area of the frame. It won't be any smaller. I believe there's been an incident where there's a sign on this building that didn't fit, and it looked like it was a little bit out of place.
Yes.
So that's the request. Again, when you're looking at signs, in the downtown historic district. There are several policies in Chapter 8, and it's to design a sign to be in balance with the overall character of the property. Appropriate signs include freestanding, flush-mounted, window, projecting, hanging, awning, and directional signs, and a sign should be seen or should be in character with those seen historically. And again, this is the request for the backlit sign, as you can see here. The applicant is in attendance tonight if you have any specific questions. The business is actually open, so.
Oh, wonderful.
They actually, I believe, had a temporary sign for a while, correct? So I think that's been up because they're just been, waiting for the timing with the BAR. But the business is open, and this is their request.
Excellent. One question, sir. What is going to be routed out and what's going to be lit? Okay, so it's the actual text, the Northern Sugar is going to be what's going to be lit? What about the gourmet treats underneath? Is that lit? Totally up to you. We're just asking. Okay. All right. So with that, we have an aluminum face sign, routed, backlit, what we've seen and approved in the past. Questions? Comments?
Already open? They are open. Sounds yummy.
Fantastic. Anything further?
Fits everything we need.
Exactly. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Bill, second from Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the information.
Thank you, sir.
Now on to BAR 2152.
West is 813 South Manning Street, which is located in the Anderson Historic District. And the applicant is seeking approval to replace the roof that's on the house. And the existing roof is made of asphalt shingles. It's kind of a dark gray color. It's an older roof, so it looks like it's probably faded over time. The applicant proposes to replace it with a metal roof that's black. There are a few metal roofs in existence along South Manning Street in that corridor. The applicant is requesting to put a black metal roof that looks pretty much like this. This is a building that he owns, and it was went through the process back in 2015. It's a black metal roof. It's located at 801, and again, this is 813 South Manning Street. I know there's another metal roof, I believe it's a red one, at 818 South Manning. There may be another one that I'm missing, but again, there are a few located in that stretch of block in the Anderson Historic District. And when looking at applications such as this, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3 of the Residential Design Guidelines, and that is basically saying use roof materials in a manner similar to that seen historically. And again, as a board, you take a look at this request and see how it compares to the guidelines. But this is the information provided to us. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer those, and the applicant is not in attendance tonight.
All right, folks.
That's another kind of view of the little closer up view of what's proposed. Taken from 801.
Metal roof similar to one down the street from. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
On that same street a couple of years ago.
Right. The first one we'd approved, I believe it was started before it came before us.
It did. Apparently, that was in 2015. It started. There may have been some confusion with getting a building permit. I'm not certain exact details of that, but it did start. We did stop it about a third of the way through the process and brought it to the board.
There was some objections to that metal roof from one of the people that lived a block away from it on another street.
Okay.
Still, because this themed in, and that's not the only metal roof that we approved before that's on that street. There's another one.
Right. There's this black roof, and then there's the red one. And the other metal roofs are old standing seam or old any sort of roof, old ones. I think those are the only two newer ones on that street, or at least on that block. So thoughts, comments, concerns?
So it will be the same profile of that house right there, Maurice, that one?
Here's the existing structures. You can see the roof line.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, with the profile, this is what. And zooming in a little further.
That's the same house right there? Okay. Okay.
I will say it appears to be the same roof that the board approved on South Main Street, down from 1109. I wasn't here that night.
I believe that's 1025 South Main. Originally, they requested a red roof, and then
Oh, yeah.
deliberation, we landed on the black roof, which has been installed since then.
And he does mention that this is black, right? Yeah, yeah, okay.
Requested that because I think that one could be even a brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, what say you folks? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve.
Motion from Billy, second from Bill. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Okay. You know, again, as we've done time and time again, our decisions are judgment calls based upon the guidelines and the particular set of circumstances, the location itself, and surrounding neighborhood. Clearly, metal roofs of any style, or even this style, wouldn't fit anywhere, just anywhere. But
Right.
in this particular location, it seems to be within the guidelines. And finally, for the public hearing, we have BAR 2153.
Being passed around just so you can see a little closer. One of the bricks was lost in transit walking over here, I think, today you'll see on the thing. But again, you'll see that for the most part, all the bricks are intact. But this is a request for new construction at 813 West Whitner Street. And just to let you know, the applicants are present tonight because I know a lot of times with new construction, you may have some specific questions regarding details of the project. But the applicant is requesting to construct a new single-family dwelling at 813
It's all these things.
Street. Back in November of 2020, you did approve a request for a demolition of a structure of a house that was on the property. That was approved again in November of 2020. And since this is new construction, we have to us, but some things that you're seeing being passed around are some details regarding the bricks. And also, I'll go through some design details they have for the windows, shutters, and the garage door. But again, the house will be brick construction. It's a myrtle sand brick and ivory buff mortar that you can see being passed around. The shingles will be a Williamsburg gray, and those are also being passed around. They're planning on painting the shutters black, and then the trim color is a Benjamin Moore sailcloth. And just to go through a few of the items submitted to us, you see the front elevation of the house. Again, it will be a brick house. There's a rear elevation, dwelling. Right side elevation. Here's a left side elevation. We have some photograph samples of other construction that they plan to incorporate. Like I mentioned, the windows. This is the type of window they're planning to add to the house, if you can see that. This is the shutter style they're proposing. In your packet if it's not very clear on this overhead. And then the garage door, you can see outlined here. And considering new construction in a residential district, there are a bunch of policies to be outlined in the staff report. We can go through each one of those specifically if needed. I'll be glad to go over those now, but again, we can talk about those as we continue our discussion. But basically, there's a quote in our guidelines. It says, preservation does not mean that a neighborhood or historic district must be frozen in time, but it does mean that when new building occurs, it should be done in a manner that reinforces the basic visual characteristics of a block. This does not imply, however, that a new building must look old. In fact, imitating historic styles is generally discouraged. And again, as you can see, there are several policies, 7 or 8 of them, that outlines everything regarding the site to the windows and doors. So rather than going through those specifically, you can ask any questions for me, but I do believe the applicants can probably provide you as much detail as you'll need tonight.
Right.
Project.
Yeah, I think that would be best. All right, Mr. Townsley. Questions? I take it this is not your drawing of your house? Okay. Excuse me? No, the house that you're looking to build. Because, I mean, this appears to be wood siding. The window sample that you've shown with the photo, the style of the 4/1, seems to be a very different overall shape than the ones in this drawing. But I mean, you mean that the drawings that we have here are just general? It's a general drawing. Okay. Okay. Andy, Billy, you want to help lead this?
John, yeah, right here, what John was asking, if you see those windows that have the rectangle around them, they're kind of divided, the top part is divided with the cross. Is that what you're proposing for all windows, to have that grid detail? And there'll be double hung windows?
So the proportions are going to be totally different than the drawing that we have.
So he's saying it'll be the same window size shown in the 2D drawing you're looking at there, but it will just have the cross mullion on the top half of a double hung window.
Of the long and narrow.
It'll be a 4/1, but long and narrow. Will the mullions be internal, be a double pane window, I assume? Internal or external grids?
So it'll be simulated, it'll have exterior and interior with the spacer in between, yeah. So it'll appear to be a true divided light.
Is this a railing for a balcony up here? Above the front doorway, is that a balcony above that? Railing? No? Okay.
That looks like a metal roof over the front porch. Is that going to be a metal roof?
Okay.
The porch columns and railing material would be what? I'm sorry? Okay.
Detail in the columns, just square columns. Shutters be wooden, painted wooden shutters. What about the garage door? Do you have any thoughts of the, oh, yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. So it'll look just like that. I think that'll go well with the windows.
But I guess I'm still at loss. I mean, is this what the house is gonna look like, or is this just a concept drawing? Okay, so we don't have, okay.
Same, everything's the same except for the material or not?
It is. So it's the exact same design, just different. It's brick instead of siding, but everything else is the same.
Other questions? Mary Lou?
Is the garage attached? Yes?
In the back of the house, the rear elevation, is that? So that's what you're gonna do? Okay. Just couldn't tell because it's a concept drawing, so that's where we're having, that's where the difficulty is. What? No, normally what we have to have are the plans. What are you thinking, Andy?
I think it's a nice house for the neighborhood. It is. Well, the exterior doors, do you know what material they'll be?
So I guess we need to be specific about what we're approving here, since it doesn't seem like every detail has been presented, right? I mean, there's still unknowns with the doors and maybe gutters and downspouts and.
And what we typically do, if you do approve certain elements of that, like use a door for an example, we will just continue the existing application. The applicant won't have to reapply necessarily. They'll just need to, staff will bring it to you at the next meeting.
So Marie, specifically, what is before us and what do we need to pass on tonight?
But number one, new construction of the house. The exterior, you see the concept plan, it sounds like, according to the applicant, the style is exactly like the concept plans, the materials, particularly the brick that's it's been passed around. That would be something that would need to be approved along with the roof color. I think this, again, of the house, if the concept plan is enough for you to approve, design details with the windows, the garage, the shutter, the garage door, the shutters, details specifically that we need. We just mentioned the door for one. If there's something else in particular that you would like to see more details on, if it can't be provided tonight, that's certainly something that we can request the applicant bring to us at a future meeting.
Good. Any further questions?
I think we maybe table the doors. Request would be for doors.
Okay. Let's take it this way. Is there a motion to approve and to approve exactly what? And the rest of it would be left open.
Make a motion that we approve the color and the brick exterior and the wood shingle design, the 4/1 windows with divided light appearance on the upper portion of the window.
We have a color sample? Tablecloth?
I pulled it up on my computer, but I don't think we received one.
Not,
Off-white?
All right, so we have a motion. Is there a second? Second from Andy. Any further discussion? Maurice, are we clear as to what the motion is as to approval?
trim was also included in that, as y'all,
Bill, the trim is included?
I did not mention the trim because I didn't see the color.
Okay, for what it's worth, Billy pulled it up. It's a bit of a khaki color.
Oh, that's the shutter color, right?
No, the shutters are black.
the,
Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong thing.
cloth, if you have that pulled up, that's the proposed color of the trim, according to the applicant.
Okay, I thought that was the shutter. Okay.
Question for you. The trim color would be around the windows, the door, and what about the foundation? Not around the windows? All be brick? Okay.
Columns.
The foundation is brick like the rest of the house? Yes.
Foundation would be brick. Any more questions on that? I'm going to include the color of the sailcloth color for the trim work.
And do you accept that as part of your second?
Yeah, I did.
Anything? Okay, we have a motion second. Further discussion? Hearing nothing, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you back on the details. That concludes tonight's public hearing. Now we're moving on to the addenda.
Yes. It is in attendance, so.
Excellent.
This may look familiar to you because I believe it was February of last year. About a year ago, this is 412 Watson Avenue. This is the picture of the house just to give you some bearings. The applicant at the time came in and requested a couple of things. One, to demolish this barn that was at the end of the driveway, which the board approved, and also received approval to install an accessory building similar to this on the property. At the time, the applicant requested, and I think it ended up being approved, to move it over here to the right side of the property inside the chain link fence. So the barn was at the end of the driveway. The new shed was purchased. It was installed over here on this side of the property. You can see it basically pretty clearly in this photograph here. It's turned to the side, but that's where it ended up inside of the chain link fence. The applicants, since that time, because there's a big slope, there's some difficulty getting in and out of the building, and some other logistical issues make it kind of difficult for them to use the building in the manner in which they desire. So they are requesting to move the building back to where the general location where the original barn was located, at the end of the driveway. So you will see that from the street, at the end of the driveway where the barn was located. Like I said, last year, it looked like that. They're wishing to move that accessory building to that location. And the applicant may be able to provide a little bit more clarification if I did not get the exact location correct, but he is here. But that is the request before you tonight. It is something that, again, all of it was approved. The location was approved, but now with it being moved and possibly being more visible, if you will, I talked to the chairman, and he decided that it would be in the best interest to bring it before the full board to discuss this tonight and to approve it if you so desire.
Now, the actual front of the completed structure, is that what photo we saw? Is that the front of it? Because I know where it's tucked back. That's the side. Do we have a photo of? Yes, sir.
And then around the.
Maurice, do you have a photo of that?
I do have a side.
Oh, if you do. That'd be great. Maurice,
So you're saying that this will be more visible?
Maurice, he has a photo. We just need to see what would be facing the front. All right, that helps.
I think the applicant's saying that this will be turned facing the street, correct? No.
But the side of the structure is what's going to be facing the street. Correct. As opposed to the front of the structure. Okay.
What is the siding material on the building?
It's a type of hardy plank. It's a type of hardy plank.
I guess the concern I've got is that it's not going to be facing the street, but the side of it. Comments? Right, but now it's on the other side and back behind. Now we're talking about. All right, comments, folks.
Would it be practical to turn it so the front of the building faces the street? Okay.
Well, what if you put it within the fence as you had initially presented on the first rough drawing?
There's a fence line, right?
Right, but there's a fence there. But originally, when they came before us, it was going to be within the fence. Right, and if you. Looks like a pretty wide driveway to where you could shift it left, where you would have access to the side. I mean, the orientation is apparently the concern. Bill?
Well, if you look at the original picture, it had a garage, drive into the garage. It's not much different.
But that was off the front of that was the front of that structure too.
What's the front?
The garage. That was.
Right.
And this new structure is going to be much smaller than that.
According to applicant, it's up a little closer than the original barn, but still on the edge of pavement, which is back here. So they'll probably occupy some of that footprint of the old.
Would it be possible to maybe remove the fence or part of the fence so that the building could be oriented toward the street? And just so you would still have access easy with your ramp? So the brick wall comes up to the house? It does come up to the house. Would it be something, I'm just trying to throw out ideas, would it be something that the ramp could go over the brick and you wouldn't have to remove the brick?
Well, would you not have to do that to pull the structure out from the backyard?
It seems like to me that the new structure is small enough, looking at this photo, that you'd be able to orient it like we're wanting to see, the long side facing the street, and then shift it over enough to where you could still get your lawnmower in those side doors. Is that not correct? I mean, it looks pretty wide right there.
I mean, you. Well, actually, it looks like over 2 cars.
2 cars wide.
Where's your property line? Be back. Where's your property line? Your property line.
Freeze property. So roughly in here,
Lots of room.
gotcha.
Right.
Well, if you shifted it over, if you shifted it over to the left, certainly there would be enough room.
Up past the slab.
I mean, personally, if the orientation would have changed to where the front of the building is facing street, so it's oriented just like your house is oriented, I'd be okay with the move.
Yeah, and again, it appears there's room to do that.
20 feet's about the width of 2 cars.
So if you just scale it from that photograph right there, it would fit directly in front of 2 cars, and then you shift it to the left, maybe another. I mean, you've got what looks like 30 feet to the left of that. I know it's more convenient to orient it directly behind your driveway so you can drive straight into it, but aesthetically, we've got to keep that in mind, that this needs to look like it's part,
Prominent house.
yeah.
A big lot. I live in that neighborhood, so I know which house it is. Cute building.
And I guess if you go on site and look at that and say it's just not going to work, it doesn't fit for whatever reason,
We can come back, but we'd have to get, it does appear that it could work.
yeah.
What?
Plat plan of the property, what it looks like.
I mean, there's ample. So what say you, sir? It appears that approval would be given if you reorient the structure. Otherwise, we'd have to all give it further thoughts. But I think orienting it to where the front of it's facing the neighbors and the side of it's facing the front street would look odd as well. I think that's what we're saying.
And I think the initial approval of it was the placement in the back behind the house.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah. That's what was easy to approve at that time. So, there's a motion to approve or a motion to table?
I will motion to approve the new location, understanding that we prefer that it be facing, the front facade be facing the,
Well, it wouldn't be a matter of preference. It's like, is that contingent upon reorienting to where the front of the structure faces the street?
yes.
So we have a motion to approve with the reorienting. Second from Mary Lou. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? All right, sir, for clarification, if you were to reorient You have the approval, no need to come back. If you choose not to do that, which is of course your choice, then you'd have to come back. I mean, I think if it's within the fence, that's what we had approved last time. If you can keep it within the fence, all right. Okay, again, I think we probably need to do a motion. Should he choose to keep it within the fence, in the existing fence line, motion to approve the moving of the structure, however the orientation is. Okay, motion. Andy, second. Jill, anything further? All in favor? All right, so you have two approvals. Okay? Very good, sir. Thank
Yep.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Appreciate your patience. Anything further tonight, other than moving on to minutes? Maurice?
Just the minutes tonight, thank you.
Okay, all right. Minutes have been provided, had an opportunity to review, I think. Questions, comments, and motion to approve? Motion from Bill, second. You was it? From Andy. All in favor? Thank you. And approved. Anything further?
From the staff.
Excellent. Okay, motion to adjourn. Andy, second. Billy, all in favor? We are.